My name is Daisy Buchanan. I am a young, beautiful woman from Louisville, Kentucky. I am Nick's cousin and Tom Buchanan's wife. We live in West Egg. Nick, my gorgeous cousin, has just arrived to West Egg, so we invited him to dinner. I was so anxious and happy to see him again after a long, long time. I presented him my girlfriend Jordan Baker, and they seemed to have a great time together. I have heard that my husband, Tom Buchanan, has a girlfriend in New York. This makes me feel sad, disappointed. But what can I do? He's the one that maintains me, and he's the one that gives me all I want. But I'm sick of all these stupid phone calls he gets from her. He's cheating on me. This makes me feel horrible. I thought he was different, and I thought that I was the only one he loved. But this crap makes me feel worse. Tom really doesn't care how I feel. I didn't think well about the man I was marrying, just because I saw him as a wealthy, powerful young man that asked him to marry him. So I made the biggest mistake of my life answering yes, just because of his money. I remember those days that a man called Gatsby made me feel like nobody has made me feel. He was a handsome soldier. He was so romantic. He was perfect. I miss those days when there was nothing more important than love, when that man made me feel beautiful. That day when he told me that he was going to war and told me that don't worry, that he will be back for me. This memory is like a tattoo that doesn't go off my mind. I waited him for years and years and sent him thousands of letters telling him to come back, but he didn't. And Gatsby wasn't a rich man, and rich women do not marry rich guys. And Gatsby at those times was a poor man, so I married Tom. Me to have tea at his house, but just me. So it sounded like a little bit strange to me, but I was very happy to go and know his house for the first time. When I arrived to Nick's house, at the right there was a huge enormous house. It was Gatsby's house. Nick's house is small but divine. His garden looked awesome. Nick was with me as I looked all over the living room. When I entered his house, it was beautiful. There was flower all over and it smelled really nice. When I entered the living room, it all seems very prepared for me. Nick was with me as I looked all over the living room. All looked gorgeous, and in the middle of nowhere a man appeared. It looked so familiar to me. But when I saw deep in those wonderful diamond eyes, I remembered of him. It was the love I always waited for, Jake Gatsby, who I waited for him so long and never came for me. I couldn't take my eyes off him. When I saw him, it was like there was only me and him in the entire world. A quick flash of all the past came through my mind. I felt so good seeing him again. I didn't know what to say. I was speechless when I saw him. My heart pumped faster and faster. My face was burning red. My hands and legs became cold and to shake. My eyes were stuck in him. I couldn't move them. Just when a tear came out my eye and ran down to my cheek. Just then a tear came out my eyes and ran down to my cheeks. He looked at me like I was a diamond. I couldn't say a word. I couldn't say a word. They had been years and years without seeing him. He looked good and handsome. He never had looked like that. And suddenly he talked, and we started to talk. There was laughter, one of the things I never had with Tom. That day was like to be born again. I felt totally different. After a while, he invited me to his mansion. It was spectacular. I had so much fun. Gatsby is a lovely man. I will never forget that day. Jake Gatsby invited me to his huge parties he do, with very rich and famous people. I really didn't feel comfortable with so many people around that I never had seen in my whole life. But that really didn't matter, because that night was one of those nights you never forget. I was all night with Gatsby. It was a fabulous night. He looked amazing. It was an unforgettable night with him by my side. Tom went with me to the party, but I really don't care where was he or with who. The only thing I know is that I had a great night with Gatsby. Nick, Jordan, Tom, Gatsby, and I went to a trip to New York. We all stayed in the same hotel and in the same room. Tom really didn't like the idea of Gatsby coming with us. He really wasn't sure why he came. We all started talking calmly. Tom started challenging Gatsby, saying rude things to him, like, "What are you doing here?" or "What do you want from us?" I think Tom suspected something between Gatsby and me. I really like Gatsby because he defends me in everything. That feels so nice. This is one of the things Tom really don't do for me. One afternoon, Gatsby invited me to his house, and after a while he asked me if I wanted to have a ride in his cars, so I said yes. After a while, I was told that her name was Myrtle, Wilson's wife. Wilson found out who was the one who killed his wife, so they thought it was Gatsby because I was riding Gatsby's car. So Wilson went to Gatsby's mansion and killed him. But suddenly happened. No one was aware of it. It was my fault. I love Gatsby. He was the only one that made me blush and the only one that made my heart beat faster and faster. I love Gatsby.